So we're going to do a sample search, just so I can show you what a search might look like using HeritageQuest. So from the home page, I'm going to navigate over to the search screen, and here it has all the things, all the collections you can search through. I'm going to do a census search, and I'm going to do the 1940s census because I have a feeling that's when the person I'm looking for was going to be counted. So I'm going to click on the 1940s. And it'll bring you over to the search fields that you can fill out to try to find who you're looking for. Um, so, just to start off, I'm looking for my grandfather. And when you fill in the first and middle names and the last names field, you'll see the exact name searching. So, exact name searching can be a really powerful tool, but it can also limit your search in ways that you don't not necessarily realize. So, for example, when I did the exact search for my grandfather, I realized that he's almost never counted using his middle name. So, limiting it to exactly his first and middle names means that I don't always find him in results. And I think the reason for this might be because it's a confirmation name, but there could also be other reasons as well. So, I would recommend instead of trying exact search, if you click this here, you can see that you can also search for sounds like, similar names, or initials options if you're not certain about spelling. And the same goes for the last names, you can do that there as well. And they also have the sound X option, and there's a little bit more information about that in this section here. But I'm going to uncheck that. So, a similar thing that you'll see in the first, middle, and last names options is that you can also try a wildcard search. So, for example, in the last name, if I wasn't sure that it was an A spelling Nolan, you could delete that and use a question mark. And this would basically say that that letter there I'm not sure about, and any spelling that has any letter in that spot could be correct. So if it was an E, for example, both Nolan with an A and Nolan with an E would show up. You can also try a wildcard search, and just for example's sake, I'm going to try and say, if I think that it could be Jacobs or Jacobson, and I'm not totally sure, you can also try with an asterisk, which will replace 0 or more letters. So in this case, it could be Jacobs, Jacobson with an O, Jacobson with an E, or any other combination. So that's a really powerful tool to have in your search kit here. Now, moving on, I'm going to change this back to the name that I was looking for. So, I am next going to do his birth year, and I'm pretty sure it was 1921, but I'm not positive about that, so I'm going to click on this exact option, and it'll let me search for plus or minus 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 years within this date. And like I said, I'm not totally sure, but I'm going to say plus or minus 2 years. I think that will be pretty accurate. And as I mentioned earlier, including a location should be done whenever possible to ensure you're getting someone from the right geographic area. You don't want to be getting results for somebody in Oregon if you're looking for somebody in New Jersey. In this case, I'm going to look for Philadelphia, and it'll give you some options here if you're trying to figure out how to get the right spelling and all that. And you can click here and it'll have, you can also search within the county and adjacent counties, state and adjacent counties, and the country. But I'm going to uncheck that for my search. And at this point, this is a pretty sufficient search. If you know more, you can add it, but this will get you some results that you can take a look through and usually find someone that that you're looking for. If you don't get results, try broadening your search, by not using the exact searches, and also maybe by deleting any of this additional information if you've put it in. Sometimes it just isn't showing up, and it might be limiting your results in ways that you don't necessarily realize. You can always, try a broader search to try to account for maybe human error in a census record or a transcription error, anything like that that could have caused a discrepancy. So now that I've got my search, I'm going to go down and you see all of these fields that you can try to fill out. I don't really know any of this information. So I'm going to fill in the last box here. I know he was male, and I'm going to hit search. And here it's going to pull up a lot of results. Fortunately, this is my grandfather here. He's the first record. You'll see kind of an overview of all the things about him in here. And then a fun thing about HeritageQuest is that you can just hover over this and it will pull up some information so you don't have to click into every record to see if it's the right person. So you can see that here. It will also have the ability to just go straight to the census scan if you click on that button there. So now it's going to take us to that. And you can see he's highlighted in the yellow here, and then in the green are his parents and sister who were living at home at the time. And I'll zoom in so you can kind of see a little bit. But there he is, David Nolan. And it'll have has his sex, race, age. It'll have all this information in here. So I'm going to go back to the biographic info so that we can look at that. So like I said, it'll have all this information here. I didn't know that's where he lived. At this point, he was in high school, so it has his education listed, household members. So all this information can be really helpful in continuing your search. And then I wanted to point out a few more things. So down here on the right, it'll have suggested records. If it thinks that this person that you've found here is related to some other records that they're found in. And I do know a few of these are him. So this is him here and here. This is also his veteran compensation application files. That's his draft cards. And all those kinds of things. So it's really interesting. You can use those to try to find him again and kind of get a trail going. So moving up, I wanted to show you that you can send a document to your email so that way you can find it again later. You'll just click that button here, send document, and it'll pull up asking for your email address. And once you send it, you'll be able to access it there. And then you can also print from here. You can print all of this information out. And when you're in the census record, you can also save this either to the My Discovery screen if you've made a profile, or you can save it to the computer. So again, this is an example search that you can now use to conduct your own search for your own relatives.